You feel that? See, I can see you're holding your heart. Some of you have tears in your eyes. Why? That feeling is a language. That feeling is a power that lives inside of your body. If I had walked onto this stage and said, now, have that feeling, it may have been hard to do. But you saw an image that gave you a reason for that feeling. You're still crying. It's a powerful story. It's a powerful image. It's true. And the two girls lived, and they're doing very well today. That feeling is something that does not happen in your mind. It happens in your heart. The image and the story went directly to your heart. It bypassed your mind. It bypassed the filters. It bypassed the logic, the questions, the conditioning, the judgment. It was just a feeling. Today, modern science is beginning to understand that that feeling that happens inside of our bodies has a direct effect on the stuff our world is made of, on the atoms and the molecules of our physical world. How many in this room like science? Do you like science? How many do not like science? Well, this is fun science. Because what I'd like to do today, the first part of this day, I'm going to share with you the science that is so new. It is not yet in the textbooks, on the one hand. It's not in the textbooks yet. On the other hand, it is the science that you and I and our children will use to solve the problems that we're leaving in the world today. It's a very different way of thinking about things. So, for the next few moments, I would like to share with you the science. And I think you'll enjoy the science very much, because it gives us a way to understand what we will see next. After we understand the science, I'd like to invite you into the monasteries of Tibet, into the monasteries of Egypt and Peru, because it's in those places that the wisdom is kept of the language of our hearts, the wisdom in their cultures that was lost in our cultures. So as we go through the day, I'm sharing the science, and then we will go into the ancient wisdom that describes the science in another language. And then we will see miraculous video in here of that science applied to create healing inside the body of a living human. We will see a woman that has been diagnosed with cancer, and we can see inside of her body through ultrasound, through a sonogram. And we can watch this practice of human emotion, focused human emotion, heal that cancer in less than 3 minutes for one person. And then we'll see the same principle applied for peace in the Middle East during the Israeli-Lebanese war in the early 1980s, because it's the same principle. And then we'll have the opportunity in this room to learn the language that creates those miracles. Is that okay? Are you okay if we do that today? So, okay, good. Thank you. So the question, how much power do we really have to change our world, to change our lives, to change our bodies? How much power do you believe that we really have? The question that we're really asking is, who are we? Who are we? And this is the great mystery and the controversy in the language of science. Are we simply observers passive observers in this universe watching the world go by, or are we powerful creators? As our most cherished religious and spiritual traditions have always said, are we actually powerful creators that have forgotten how to use our power? Well, this is the great question that has been asked by scientists for 400 years. When I was in school in the 1970s, 1960s, I was taught that the universe began a long time ago and that we have come along relatively recently and that we are essentially powerless specks of dust in the universe. And after we are gone, the universe will never know that we were here. That's what I was taught when I was in school. Does that sound familiar to you? That's one way of thinking. There is another way of thinking that says something very different. It says the universe began a long time ago. We have come along relatively recently. However, we are powerful creators that are changing our world and changing the universe as we live our lives. And this is the controversy of the scientists. Albert Einstein believed the first idea. Albert Einstein said, we live in a world which exists independently of us humans, which stands before us like a great eternal riddle, at least partially accessible to our inspection and thinking. It's very complex. What he's saying is, Albert Einstein believes that we will be lucky if we understand even a little bit of how the universe works, and that we are very insignificant. Okay. A colleague of Albert Einstein was alive during his time and is still alive today. His name is Professor John Wheeler, Princeton University physicist. He's still with us today. John Wheeler says completely the opposite. They studied in the same time. They had the same information, the same books, the same data, and they had very different opinions. Look at what John Wheeler says. John Wheeler says we could not even imagine a universe that did not contain us because, he says, it is the act of us observing the universe that makes the universe as it is. He said it is the act of us observing the world around us. He said that we're part of a universe that is not finished yet. John Wheeler says the universe is incomplete. He says that we are tiny specks, tiny patches of the universe looking at itself and building itself in what he calls a participatory universe. Participatory. I like that word. It means that we are not controlling the universe. We are not imposing our will upon the universe. We are participating, co-creating. Does that mean anything to you when you see this? Let me ask you a question. Let's explore this idea just a little bit. I know that you all lie awake in bed at night, sleepless, because you're wondering why we have never found the smallest particle of matter, right? Or you lie awake in bed at night, sleepless, because you wonder why we've never found the edge of the universe, right? No, I do. The truth is that we may never find the smallest particle of matter. And we may never find the edge of the universe. Scientists build huge machines, cyclotrons, particle accelerators. And they take a little particle of matter and they accelerate it to the speed of light, almost. And they smash it into another particle so they can break it into many pieces, thinking that somewhere in there they will find the ultimate, smallest particle of matter. And they never find it. Do you know why? Because here's what happens. Every time they think they find the smallest particle, they look and there's something else there. Something else is there. The reason that we will probably never find the smallest particle, and the reason that we will probably never find the edge of the universe, is because of what John Wheeler says. He says the act of us searching, the act of the human heart and the human mind looking at the universe, expecting to see something, will always create something for us to see. The act of us looking with the expectation that something is there is an act of creation unto itself. Does that make sense to you? This is important. This is important to you. Think about this. I invite you to think about this. If looking with the expectation that something exists is what creates that something, then what does it mean when you are conditioned to look at your body, to search your body every day or every week, looking for something to be wrong, looking for an abnormality, looking for a lump, looking for a discoloration? You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm not saying don't look. What I'm suggesting is it's your consciousness while you are looking that is important. What happens if you look at your body in the mirror every day and you say, beautiful body? And that is an act of creation. Can you see how that is different than if you look in your body for a lump or something that should not be there? Does that make sense? Very, very powerful, what John Wheeler is saying. This is a scientist saying that consciousness is creating our physical universe. The question is, if feeling and consciousness is creating, what is it that we feel? What do we believe about our world? The new discoveries suggest that the power to change our bodies and to change our world is based in what we call belief. Belief. Our belief of what is real. We live our lives based in what we believe about our world. Would you agree with that? We live our lives based on what we believe about, about ourselves, our world, one another, our limitations, our capabilities. I was trained as a scientist. When I began to understand that we live our lives based upon our beliefs, my question is, where do those beliefs come from? And what I found is that those beliefs come from what other people tell us. The beliefs come from what history tells us, what science tells us, what religion tells us, what our culture, what our family, our friends tell us. That's where our beliefs come from. Would you agree with that? So let me ask a question. What if they're wrong? What if they're wrong? What if you and I are living our lives in the beliefs of other people who are incorrect? What does that mean for us? How powerful do you think a belief really is? How powerful, truly? There's an author. His name was Neville in the early 20th century. He wrote a book called The Power of Awareness, a beautiful book. And what Neville said was this. He said that our power of belief is a power, an infinite power against which no earthly force is of the slightest significance. Our power of belief is an infinite power against which no earthly force is of the slightest significance. Do you believe that you have a power within you against which no earthly force is of the slightest significance? Is that possible? Do you believe that? Let me show you some examples. Let me share some examples.